My name is Rainey Vijayvira, and I'm the Assistant Director of Advising and Student Services in the College of Science. So we're going to jump in, and today's presentation will go over degree structure, tracking your progress towards graduation, academic advising, class registration, and a few other things to expect. So we're going to jump right in with degree requirements. 3 of our majors in the College of Science will have pre-majors. If you're in computer science, neuroscience and cognitive science, or psychological science, you will have a pre-major. This means you have some criteria to meet in order to transition to the full major. So it could be completion of courses with a certain GPA. Please talk to your academic advisor if you're in one of these programs, and they will let you know what your pre-major looks like. Some of our majors in College of Science, or degrees rather, will require a minor. Think of a minor as another area of study that doesn't involve as many courses that a major would. Minors can be anywhere from 18 to 22 credits, which means 4 to 6 classes depending on the program. So if you're a BS, Bachelor of Science, or BA, Bachelor of Arts, in the mathematics program, you will need to take a minor. The exception is if you're doing the teaching emphasis, since you'll be taking classes for teaching. If you're in the BS or BA in Statistics and Data Science, you'll need a minor, and then BA Computer Science and BA Psychology. Minors are optional for everyone else. However, you are more than welcome to talk to your academic advisor to see how a minor would benefit you. Sometimes students will minor in a couple things, so there's a lot of different possibilities and opportunities. So work with your advisor to see how this could work with your major. All of our degrees will have general education and foundation requirements. So, for example, English composition, mathematics, second language, and then our Tier 1 and Tier 2 general education. So based on which major you're pursuing, there might be some differences. For example, if you're doing a Bachelor of Science, you need second semester of a language with a grade of C or better to fulfill the language requirement. If you're doing a Bachelor of Arts, you're going to need 4th semester, so through 202 with a grade of C or better. With the Tier 1 and Tier 2 general education, these courses are comprised of social sciences, humanities, arts, and then potentially natural sciences. So your academic advisor will let you know if you have transfer credit that apply to our gen eds, and they'll let you know how many gen eds are left for you to take. So other general requirements for graduation, you will need 120 total units to graduate. If you're hydrology and atmospheric sciences, you'll have a few more units, 125. Of these 120, 42 must be upper division. Those are your 300 and 400 level classes. To graduate from the University of Arizona, you need 30 units taken from the U of A. You'll need 18 units of upper division and residence. So these are your 300, 400 level classes. If you're in the honors program, Honors College will require a certain amount of units, and as well as your senior thesis. Check with your honors advisor to see if you need the full 30 units or if you might need fewer credits if you're transferring in quite a bit of coursework. And then finally, GPAs need to be above a 2.0 in your major, minor, and overall. So this is a lot of requirements to keep track of. So we have a tool called the advisement report that you can use, and it's what advisors use to track your progress towards graduation. All right, so this is a screenshot of your UAccess Student Center. So at the top, you'll have various tabs. So if you click on Advising and then click on Advisement Report, it will generate this view. This first view is an HTML. You can scroll through, click on links and such, but I want to bring your attention to the PDF option because we highly recommend that you view this way as well. So our HTML versus PDF. HTML is going to be a dynamic document. You can click on links. PDF is static, but it has a lot of really good information. So with the HTML view, you can see in green courses that are satisfied, and it'll show in red not satisfied. So that's kind of what draws your attention. Like if you see something that says not satisfied, you're going to kind of look below and see, okay, what is this requirement and what are the courses available for me to satisfy it. What's nice is in the HTML, you'll get clickable links so you can read different course descriptions. It's linked to the catalog so you can see when classes are typically offered. So that's definitely some of the advantages. With the PDF view, This is static, so it's not going to have clickable links, but it has a lot of really helpful information located in this document. So, for example, we can see undergrad career majors in molecular and cellular biology, and then a BA in biochem. You'll see the minimum GPAs, minimum units, and just progress towards that. Anytime you see like not satisfied in red, that means you're lacking that requirement. I also want to point out requirement term. This is also your catalog year. So this student's catalog year is fall 2018. That means that's when they begin their program. So if you're starting in spring 2021, your catalog year or requirement term will be spring 2021. So some other things I want to point out. Previously I mentioned you need 120 units to graduate. You can see here this says 150. And the reason why is the student's pursuing a BS degree and a BA degree. So that adds a little bit more units. However, if you're going to graduate and post these degrees simultaneously, you only need the 120. But if you do sequential degrees, let's say you finish MCB first, you'll need 120 units for that. And then if you graduate, post your degree, in order to fulfill your biochem requirements, you will need the extra 30 units. So something to keep in mind. Your GPAs, of course, are tracked, and then units. Let's see. So a note about the PDF, treat this as a contract. Read the fine print because some requirements are very specific, while some might be a little bit more general. So right here below, it's saying total units and requirements status include in progress units. So what this boils down to is if you're trying to figure out how many units you have complete as of today, you have to take the total units and subtract in progress units. So I'm going to do 29 minus 21 is 8. At this point in time, this student has 8 units complete. They have 21 in progress. That could be fall registration, winter registration, spring. So you always want to subtract in progress units to know what you've actually completed. So read the fine print. It's very important as you go through this. So just as the HTML view had, you will get notices with a course that's satisfied, and then not satisfied, it'll say in red. So you can see which courses are being used to fulfill specific requirements, and then which courses are available to meet your, other requirements. So the PDF, like I mentioned, isn't clickable, but the HTML is, so that's why it's kind of nice to have both of these open at the same time. Maybe you're in different tabs so you can kind of reference back and forth. So as you scroll through your advisement report, make sure you take a look for accuracy. If things look weird, talk to your advisor. We're able to modify it and fix it if something's not applying in the area that it should be. So the thing about your advisement report, it lists everything you need to graduate, but it doesn't address sequencing. So that's where you'll want to work with your academic advisor to develop plans term by term, or we can even do like a 2 to 4 year plan depending on how long you have left to graduate. So with transfer credit, depending on which institutions you're coming from, a lot of the stuff is already built in, so you'll be able to see how courses transfer specifically from Arizona colleges. So if you're coming from like a Maricopa County Community College or even like NAU, we already have these articulations built so you know how classes transfer in, so you can utilize the course equivalency guide. So to start off with, your academic advisor will review your transcripts, and they will kind of assess how your credit applies towards university degree and major requirements. They'll update your advisement report to reflect those applications of transfer credit. We also have the Office of Transfer Credit and Articulation, and they can also assist with evaluation. So potentially out-of-state stuff, or maybe we don't have a rule built already for how accounting 400 from one institution counts and transfers at U of A. So their office can be reached via email or phone. But first, start off with your academic advisor because they'll be able to facilitate most of this for you. All right, so who is your academic advisor and what do they do? So I like to tell my students that academic advising is a partnership between yourself and your advisor. Your advisor is here to help you plan classes from term to term. We'll look at different policies and procedures and how they apply to you specifically. We will point you to the right resources. So I often tell my students, like, I'm your first stop or first point of contact. And if I don't have the answer, if I'm not the right person to help you, I will refer you to our campus partners who will be able to assist depending on what we're looking for. So that could be something like tutoring. So our think tank, we offer tutoring, supplemental instruction, or maybe you're having trouble with like stress, anxiety, we might refer you to counseling and psych services so you can just kind of get assessed and maybe start counseling. So there's lots of resources on campus. Your tuition and fees pay for some of these, so make sure you're utilizing, the different resources on campus. So as an advisor, we're here to help develop different plans with you. I often will come up with multiple options for a student just depending on the scenario. So we'll make a couple maybe plans for spring if you're looking to stay on campus, but maybe if you're going to do a study abroad, we'll have another option. So we'll kind of present all the different options you have and talk with you and help you figure out like what's the best option for you. But it's ultimately your decision, it's your path. So we need to get to know you, get to figure out what you're hoping to accomplish during your time at the university and potentially what you want to do after. Is it going to graduate school? Is it going, continuing on to like a pre-med route and going to medical school? So the more we learn about you, the more we can fine tune and customize academic plans. So talk to your advisor, make sure you go in regularly so that they can get to know you and help you along the way. So some things to note about academic advisors. We have several campus offices where their title might say advisor, but your academic advisor is the only person who is authorized to evaluate and apply credit towards your degree. We're the ones that sign off saying all requirements have been satisfied to graduate, and we will help you manage other academic matters as needed. So we really want you to meet with us at least once a semester, if not more frequently, so that we know where you stand and we can plan for different goals and objectives that you have. So there are a lot of helpful people on campus that make sure you're getting your academic advising from your advisor. Another thing that I like to tell students is it's great to collaborate with your peers and ask questions, but don't take their advising recommendations because everyone could have different requirements based on catalog years. So a class that's required for you might not be required for someone who started the program 2 years ago. So requirements change each year, things can change. So talk to your academic advisor to get the most accurate information. So who is your advisor? Again, if you go to your U Access Student Center and click on advising, you can click on this link that says view advisors. You might have more than one advisor listed here. Some of our departments have more than one advisor. For example, this is our psychology team. We have 5 different advisors plus an advising director here. So just depending on your major, how many majors, minors, etc., you might see a couple advisors. So you'll get their name, email, contact, and then typically a link to schedule an appointment. You can also click email selected advisors. You can kind of check off who you're trying to reach. So we use Trellis, which is an online platform. You sign in with your net ID and password, and you can make appointments with advisors via Trellis. So you can click on meet with my advisor, and this should take you to your advisor's calendar. But if you're looking for an advisor, let's say you're planning to declare a second major in biology, you can click search for advisor and look for the biology advisor there. So Trellis, you'll hear us refer to Trellis. It's our calendaring system. So make sure you save this link, and this is what you'll use to make advising appointments. All right, so another thing we want to quickly cover is pre-health advising. Many of our students indicate that they are interested in some type of pre-health, pre-med profession. So we have the A Center, formerly the College of Letters, Arts, and Science, and their unit houses pre-health and pre-law advising. So with pre-health, we are specifically looking at these professions, so dentistry, optometry, physician assistant, medical, pharmacy, podiatry, occupational therapy, and pre-physical therapy. So if you're interested in going to graduate programs for any of these areas, the ACE Center has advisors who are specialized in helping you understand the requirements to get into these programs. So for example, do you need to take the MCAT or the GRE? When should you take it? How do you get experience? That hands-on, volunteering or shadowing. So these advisors are there to help you develop a timeline for applying to these professional programs. Oftentimes students ask us, well, what's the best major to get into medical school or to get into pharmacy or optometry, etc. So there are different pathways. We always recommend that you pick a major that you're actually interested in and that you really are engaged in, because you're more likely to do better in the courses if you actually care and are interested and engaged, versus picking biology because you heard, oh, well, biology is a good option for pre-med, so I guess I'll do that. Pick your major. Think of it as like a backup. If you didn't go to medical school or one of these professional programs, what would you fall back on? So that's one way to approach it. With medical school, there are specific requirements, so I will briefly discuss what that looks like. So as you can see here, we have the requirement, what it is, and then our course numbers at the University of Arizona. So we have biology. You need 8 semester hours, 2 classes. So these are them, MCB 181 RNL and Ecology 182 RNL. Then we have 2 semesters of general chemistry. You can do the 150 series or the 140 series, either one is fine. So Gen Chem with labs, 2 semesters of organic chemistry with labs. So these are the course numbers here. Physics, 8 semester hours, so Physics 1, Physics 2. This is algebra based, but you can take the calculus based if you prefer. English, 6 semester hours, so 2 semesters of composition, and a college level math course, at least algebra. Sometimes med schools will require calculus. So back in 2015, the MCAT changed, so some additional requirements were added. So we have a biostatistics class, anatomy and physiology, psychology, and biochemistry. So this just kind of shows you, whether it's recommended or required, what the unit hours are within these areas, and then our equivalent course numbers. So when you see COMT, that means College of Medicine Tucson. We also have College of Medicine Phoenix, so that's where that differentiation is. So just to kind of cover some additional requirements, College of Medicine Tucson campus has updated their requirements. So for students starting in the 2021 cycle, you have some additional requirements they're looking for. So you need 1 course from cell biology, histology, micropharmacology, pathology, immunobiology, and then labs if they're applicable. You're going to need an upper division MCB or nucleic acids course. The second language is highly recommended. And so if you're wondering how to fulfill these requirements, your academic advisor can help you determine that, or someone from the ACE Center from pre-health advising can assist you. So if you are transferring in as a junior, your time is limited, right? So you only have a couple more years, so get the ball rolling if you haven't already. Talk to a pre-health advisor so they can help you determine your timeline for applying to medical school, when to take the MCAT, or if you're looking at like physical therapy, when to take your GRE, and where to apply. So connect with them as soon as possible and hit the ground running. All right, so the next thing you're probably most interested in is registering for classes. So once you've finished the modules in your digital transfer orientation, you'll be able to reach out to your academic advisor and schedule an appointment with them. They might also reach out to you directly, so if you haven't heard from your advisor yet, go ahead and reach out to them. So if you're wondering how to get a hold of them, we've already looked in your U-Access Student Center, but possibly you want to change your major or add a second major. If you go to this website, advising.arizona.edu, you can look up your advisor contact info. So depending on which term we're registering for, the schedule of classes opens up either March 1st or October 1st. So for fall, October 1st, the schedule went live, so you can start looking at spring 2021 course offerings. You could potentially start adding classes to your shopping cart, and actual enrollment will take place on the day of your scheduled orientation. So if you signed up for the November 13th transfer orientation, that is the first day that you can sign up for classes, but you have to meet with your academic advisor first so you can get your mandatory advising hold lifted, and then that will enable you to register for classes. So we want you to ensure you're signing up for the correct classes, so try to get your advising appointment scheduled right away if you haven't done so already. All right, so some other things to watch for. Pay attention to meeting dates when you're choosing your classes. We have standard start and end dates, but we have dynamically dated classes as well. We also have various sessions. So you can see spring 2021 regular term runs January 13th through May 13th. That's when finals end. So 7-week 1, 7-week 2, you can kind of see January through March and then March through May. We also have some 5-week sessions, but these aren't as common for undergrad classes. The way you'll be able to check dates is when you're looking at the schedule of classes, you'll see, when the class runs, the modality, which is live online here, and then this course, it starts late. So you'll see February 9th through May 5th. So if you're going to be taking Math 122B or Math 120R, we have these start 3 weeks into the term. Just the way our Calc 1 is set up, you start with Math 122A, functions for calculus. As long as you get a C, you move on to Math 122B. However, if functions for calc doesn't go well, we transition you into Math 120R prep for calculus. So that's why these are late start classes. All right, so a lot of students are probably curious about the modality in which we're learning. So I realize this says fall 2020, but the same course formats are applicable for spring 2021. So some classes will be in person. So these are classes that are essential. So your schedule will determine if you are in fact in person. A lot of our classes are still going to be flex in person / live online, meaning you'll be able to go to class on certain days as assigned by your professor. So you'll have the ability to go in person as possible, and then watch online as well. So it's a regular scheduled class. So for example, if you have English Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10, you'll log on at that time and watch either live online, or you'll actually physically go to class like on Fridays. So watch for information about that in your D2L and course syllabi. Live online, so that just means you're watching a class. The professor will do their lecture, every day at a certain day or time. And then I-courses are our fully online asynchronous classes that are meant to be done on your own time. So you don't have to log on at like Monday at 10 a.m. You'll be able to do that around your own schedule. So a note about I-courses, they'll show up in your schedule as online. They are charged a $50 fee. That just goes with kind of the instruction for online courses. And you can kind of see here the different course modalities. We have an online I-course, we have live online, and then we have flex in person / live online. So your schedule will kind of notate the modality in which you're taking your classes. All right, so wrapping up, some other really important things to know about are the catalog and the dates and deadlines, so calendars. So one thing that I love, we find very important to point out, is grading and GPA. So a lot of times transfer students don't realize that when they start at a new institution, your GPA starts from scratch. So you don't have a U of A GPA unless you have completed courses through the U of A. That doesn't mean your transfer credit doesn't affect you or, is not available for us to see, because your transcript will show your previous institution's courses and then the grades. So for example, if you took chemistry 151 at Pima and transferred it to U of A, on your transcript, it'll say T, which denotes transfer, and then A, which denotes you got an A. So all of your hard work that you put in your previous institution matters, because it's still reflected on your transcript and will still be applicable when you're applying to different programs. So that's just a quick note about GPA. Also, we use a 4.0 scale for GPA, so A through E. If you went to an institution that had like maybe plus and minus, your GPA, how we calculate it at U of A could look a little bit differently. So definitely read about the policies on that. So catalog is where you find the rules. There are a lot of rules. A lot of it sometimes, people assume a student should know, but it's your responsibility to do research, look at the catalog, and look up, the questions that you have. A lot of times catalog stuff can be very confusingly worded, so that's when you would want to talk to your academic advisor with just your questions about interpreting a policy and how it affects you or applies to you directly. So some things that you can look at, read about dropping your classes, so dropping one class, or all your classes. What does that look like? How does that work? What is the U of A policy on repeating courses? How do you earn academic awards? What is class standing? How is it determined? So these are just some of the things that are commonly asked. And then with dates and deadlines, you'll want to know about schedule changes, like when is the deadline to drop a class without penalty versus withdraw, which you will earn a W for. Also your payment schedules and so on. So definitely go to the calendars, maybe notate in your planner or however you keep track of stuff, the important dates and deadlines. College of Science also likes to send out something we call Semester on a Page, and basically it's a one-page document where we fit in all the important registration dates and deadlines, so you can kind of see how things play out for the semester. All right, so technology. For the majority of your classes, you will be using D2L, Desire to Learn. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically a learning management system similar to maybe like Blackboard, and that's where you'll access your course materials. So you'll go to D2L, log in with NetID and password, and usually a few days before classes begin, professors start activating their sites, putting content. So that's where you'll find your syllabi, course lectures. It's where you'll upload your assignments and so on. We are an Adobe Creative Campus. What that means is you have access to the Adobe suite of software, so like Photoshop, Illustrator, and all of that. So you'll have cloud access to the Adobe programs and applications. It's really, really helpful to have this, especially if you're working on various projects that require maybe like a video or filming. So lots of cool things there. And then through the bookstore, you get free Microsoft Office 365, so you can download Outlook, PowerPoint, Excel, Word, and all of that since you're a U of A student. And then we have 24/7 tech support through UITS. And UITS is the University Information Technology Services. They can help you troubleshoot, maybe you're having a tech problem with Zoom, or you don't know how D2L works, or you're having some issues with functionality. They're the office that will support you with any problems related to course technology. Your professor might be able to point you in the right direction, but they can only do so much. So if you're having technology issues, contact UITS. You can give them a call, or even go to their website and you can do an online chat. And they do more than just like troubleshoot. Like if you're having trouble with your computer, you could take it in, they can kind of see what's going on. So lots of cool things UITS can help you with, so definitely check them out. All right, so as we wrap up, just want to remind you that email is our official means of communicating with students here at the U of A. So make sure you're checking your cat mail regularly, maybe forward all your mail so it goes to one account. Read your email and respond to stuff as needed in a timely fashion. And when you're emailing staff, faculty, or just professionals on campus, it's really helpful if you can include your full name and your student ID number. That's a really great way for us to identify you. So try to memorize your student ID number and your net ID. Net ID is just that first part of your email address before @arizona.edu. All right, so that's it for this presentation. Please email me at science@arizona.edu with any follow-up questions. Happy to help you. And if you haven't already checked out our second video with Colin Stout talking about engagement and research. So those are the two videos you'll need to check out for transfer, orientation, and just make sure you follow up with your advisor for your advising appointment so we can help you get the ball rolling for your classes. Thanks so much for watching.